What I would like to do, first of all, is just get an idea from you about something that you're happy to work on today, something that's going to be beneficial to you, something that you would like less of or more of in your life, perhaps. Are you happy to say what that would be?
I'm happy to say what that would be. I think it would be talking about focus. And the benefit of focus in terms of several areas of my life. But if you think about it in terms of work, wanting to realise or trying to convince myself or prove to myself that actually when you focus that can be more beneficial, if not beneficial, if not more beneficial than pushing yourself into lots of areas and just being busy and capable at lots of things.
Okay. So I think I got about 2/3 verbatim, and then you said a lot more and I didn't quite catch it all exactly right, but I got it pretty much. I think I got the gist of it. And you know that what I'm doing is looking at the structure of your language and in fact all of your communication. You were using your hands a bit in there as well, and trying to figure out exactly what it is that's going on for you, in terms of unconscious patterns that are driving your behaviour that are then manifesting in something that you are calling focus. And as a result of looking at the structure of the language, there's a question I'd like to ask you, which is, who is it that you are attempting to prove this capability to?
Well, the first thing that springs into my mind is my family.
Uh-huh.
I would probably widen that to say society.
Uh-huh. And if you were to narrow it from your family, who would it be?
Well, the first person that sprung into my mind was my mum, but she's the person I would least think I would need to prove it to.
Yeah, and at least need to. Yeah.
My brothers and sisters.
Uh-huh. In order to achieve what?
Respect.
And what does respect mean to you? What would happen differently if you had respect?
The words in my head are, I would be listened to, but I'm...
And if you were listened to, what would you be saying?
Shut up.
And if they were to shut up, then you could?
Just be me.
Just be me. Do you know who that is?
Nah. Yeah, I think that person is very capable, thoughtful, caring person who likes to do, kind of abide by society's norms and quite conformist. Both I am and I'm not. Yeah, I am and I'm not. Yeah, I think I know who I am. But I'm not much different to who I am now.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know what would change. Because...
it sounds like something would change in your knowing or understanding of that person that you're saying is capable and thoughtful and caring.
Because I do those things. It's probably just about being able to stand a bit taller and do all of those things without questioning myself.
So is it really about being yourself, and more than just being yourself and acting in that way, is it about being accepted for yourself? even though that may be somebody who's quiet, is not making a lot of noise, not demanding attention all the time, and being accepted for that.
Yes, but I do feel accepted already.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, in everything I do, I feel accepted, but I probably feel like I have to do all of those lots and lots of things in order to be accepted.
In order to get to kind of a level where you get enough attention to then be accepted and respected, as you say.
Yeah, I think not accepted, respected.
Mm.
So lots of the things I do, even in the wider society, would be I do them very well, or do them to a kind of a level where I'm very, very respected in the room.
Yeah,
for example.
of course, yeah. And I suppose a lot of your career has been shaped by that driver, which in turn has led you to become very good at what you do in order to gain respect to the people that you work with.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, okay. And the sign of respect is being listened to.
Yeah.
How is that reflected in the job that you do?
Everybody has to listen to me. Yes, and I probably avoid areas where I'm not listened to, or I don't have the drive to get to that position where I'm listened to within an area. So in order to volunteer myself for a job, I have to know that I'm going to end up being the best at it. Otherwise, what's the point?
Yeah. It's interesting because when you were talking about respect and being listened to and so on, I got a sense that you were talking about respect in terms of equivalency. Equality, equity.
No.
It's actually more than that. It's
being the best.
Being the best.
Yeah.
And when you are the best, you know that what?
When I'm the best, I know that I'm loved. And needed as well. So I become slightly indispensable.
Okay.
Which is quite a nice place to be in.
Mm-hmm. And that creates a stronger attachment, perhaps, that you're not so easy to let go of.
Yeah, and I'm just getting this image of my mind of a group of friends, where how did that pop into my mind? Attachment. Yeah, I want to be the best friend, and I find it difficult if I feel that space is threatened.
Mm.
So then I work very hard to be the best I can be in that relationship or whatever, because then they can't let me go. Yes. Then they can't choose to let me go. I can choose them to let them go, but they can't choose to let me go.
Yeah. So it gives you control over your position within a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, great. So now we understand what's driving that need for focus. The other thing that came up in your opening statement is about the benefit of focus. So in terms of, you said about several areas of your life, in terms of work, it could be beneficial. You said not pushing yourself into several areas rather than myself, I think. What that tells me is that this is a pressure that you're feeling from outside, and hence we went on to explore the thing about sort of family and respect and so on. Being busy, being capable of lots of things. So it seems that being capable of lots of things could be at odds with the benefits of focus. Because if you focus, you're only demonstrating capability in one thing, or a much more narrow area, which then doesn't satisfy the need to be good at lots of different things. And then, have there ever been times where you feel like you've spread yourself too thin? And
every day. Yeah, that's very common in relationships, in work, in getting, in entertaining my children or giving them stuff to do, wanting to do a bit of everything, and yet wanting to be the best. I can't be the best at everything, so that's when my logical brain goes, but if you focused on one thing and became a real master of it, then you would be. But then I'm scared of losing out on all the other bits.
Yeah. Would it be fair to say you actually could be the best at everything if there was enough time in the day?
Yeah.
And the paradox with capability is that capability is all the things that we haven't done yet.
Capability is all the things we haven't done yet. Rephrase that.
Well, you play a musical instrument, is that
Well, I'm learning
correct?
piano.
You learn the piano. So at the moment, can you play the piano?
No. I can read a few octaves.
Ah,
Mm-hmm.
so you can play
I can,
some
yeah.
simple
I'm
practice
definitely not the best.
stuff. Okay, yet. But
Give it time.
yeah, Andre Previn, watch out. So in terms of your level of experience and practice and so on, you are capable of playing the piano, and can you play the violin?
No.
Do you think you could probably turn your hand to it if you tried?
Yeah.
So the paradox with capability is, as soon as we put capability into action, it isn't capability anymore, it's behaviour, it's something that you're doing, something that people have seen that you do. So the problem with being driven by a need to demonstrate that you can do things, you have capability, is a constant need to find new things to do. And you'll probably be Googling violin lessons before the end of the day now. So yeah, that's the paradox. Well, that driver has a tendency to diversify your focus. Meanwhile, you're wondering if there are benefits of narrowing your focus.
And I think there are, not just in work, I think there really are in relationships, friendships. I have so many friends that spend a lot of time making sure I'm in touch with them, and then I'm thinking, well, maybe it'd be better to really focus on the fewer really important friendships.
Let's hope your friends are not watching. There's a cull coming. If you're watching this video, you're on the list. No, but I'm sure from their point of view, it's a very similar thing. That I remember my parents used to get well over 100 Christmas cards every year from everybody they'd ever exchanged addresses with on holiday.
It costs a fortune now.
Yeah, and exactly how many of us can really keep up with people we're connected with on social media, with everything that's going on in the news. There's just a volume of information and connections out there. We're having more jobs than ever before, we're meeting more people than ever before, and it can put you under a lot of pressure. And that pressure, as we've already identified, is coming from a need to be respected, listened to more than fit in, to fit in and above. As you kind of hold that thought and acknowledge that for a moment, what ideas come to your mind about how you can get what you want out of your work and life in general?
Cutting down what... I was going to say cutting down, that's the obvious thing, isn't it? Perhaps just taking that pressure off of... I don't know. I was going to say that pressure off of feeling like I don't have to do everything. But sometimes it's pressure, sometimes it's not. Sometimes I quite like it. So perhaps it's more of an acceptance of that's how I am, and actually I quite like it. When I like it, I like it. It's a thinker.
And when you don't like it, it's because
it's too much, and then I'm just tired, or I'm not doing things well.
Is it sometimes the case, and this is just an idea, say yes or no, is it sometimes the case that when you start lots of things, they create dependency in other people, and then when you want to take a break, it doesn't stop other people from then demanding of your time and expecting you to deliver on something that you said that you were going to do. So you can't just switch off other people's expectations when it suits you, and then that becomes tiring.
Yes, that's often my reason for not stopping doing what I do, because some child has been studying Spanish or French with me for years and years and years, and I can't leave until they've done their GCSEs, clearly.
And there's a difference between a responsibility that you've taken on, knowing full well what that entails, that you're going to have so many lessons or coaching sessions or whatever it might be up until a certain point. Well, it's like a contract, I suppose. If you know what you're letting yourself in at the start, then you know, halfway through you can be a bit fed up, but you can think, well, this is what I've committed to and I know there's going to be an end. But when it's something that's more open-ended, it's harder to manage your energy in that. So are we really talking about focus, or are we talking about managing the balance of control within relationships and managing expectations?
Yeah, that would help. That would definitely help. In work, I think that's really easy to do. In relationships, definitely not something I've done, but something I've started working on and is being very beneficial. It's quite a hard habit to break. Of just always being there and always, yeah,
and that need to respond and put yourself in a position where you then have the opportunity to demonstrate your capability. And so I think often in these cases people focus on changing behaviour, which is a big thing to change, and forget that actually the simplest thing to do is change focus, because when you change your focus, your behaviour will naturally follow that. And if you're attempting to prove your capability to do something else or do something that's helpful to a person or an organisation, that's taking on more work, that's eating away at your time and so on. What if you were to focus on proving your capability in conserving your time and energy for the people and relationships that would provide the greatest reward, both for you and therefore for them?
Say that again. My capability in preserving my time and energy, and therefore well-being.
Yeah.
In order to give the best service.
Yeah, so instead of looking for an opportunity to be good at the best at X and Y and Z, actually what you're demonstrating is your capability of being extremely selective in where you spend your time and energy in order to manage expectations, in order to give the other people involved a fairer...
the important people.
Yeah.
Or the important jobs. I
Right.
think I'll put that's my caveat. And yes, that sounds quite empowering. So the focus is on... The focus becomes about me, not about everyone else.
Right.
As well.
Yeah. Because when you're measuring yourself by your impact on others, in order to have more impact, you have to have more others. Because as you know, in life, people are generally, or often, very underwhelmed by the effort that we make for them.
I know. Terrible business.
And often, the easier we make it for them, the less they value it. The less they value it, the more you have to do of it in order to feel valued.
Yes. And I can see that in lots of people. But yeah, sometimes don't really see it in myself. Yeah, that makes sense.
And what you said about being listened and respected and getting people to shut up, I have this image in my mind of this noisy room and you saying, shut up and listen to me, and the room goes quiet and then I'm not even saying. I just wanted to know that I could. I just wanted to know that I had the opportunity. I wanted to know that you would listen if I needed you to. Didn't actually have anything to say right now.
Yeah, I'd like to back it up with having something to say as well. So
Right.
doing it in the right place.
Yeah.
Because I'm quite happy to be quiet and listen quite a lot. And I suppose that capability is making sure I've got something that I want that is worth saying, not just talking for the sake of talking.
Yeah, and we've both been in lots of meetings where somebody's grabbed the opportunity to sort of take the conversation, but then they don't actually have anything to say, so they kind of waffle for a couple of minutes before they think of something.
Or don't.
Yeah. I find a really good way of getting people's attention is to listen to them.
I think that's what I've been doing a lot though. Which is really effective. And certainly within my family situation, that's definitely the position I think I'm taking. I'm still accused of being quite loud. But yeah, I can listen, and I can gently, it's like that thing I was saying before about the slowly, just get up, I'll get there. Because I've always found that position in the end, just kind of slowly, steadily do it. But actually underneath I'm like, whoa. So maybe it's a whoa that needs to, or that I'd quite like to calm a little bit.
Yeah, it sounds like it's
Slow bit.
consuming energy, which is not getting you anywhere.
No.
And I suppose there's a thing people say, isn't there? I don't know where it comes from, but Stephen Covey maybe talked about it, about why people listen, and listening in order to reply, listening in order to understand, listening in order to empathise and so on. And no doubt you've been in meetings where people have listened only long enough so they can say something in reply. So it sounds like there's a purpose underneath your listening, but that purpose isn't necessarily at the forefront of what you're doing. And in listening too much, you're kind of holding back, and then that, as you say, it's sort of going around inside of you, and that energy and isn't being externalised, isn't having an effect on the outside world where it needs to be. Because in order to know you've been listened to, you need to affect change. You need to see that something's going on in the world.
Yeah. Yeah, and sometimes the listening or the saying, as you said, there's too much, almost not relaxing into it, because then it might be the wrong thing, not just, like you're saying, just something I'm saying because I think I should be saying it, as opposed to actually something I want to say, or that I'm genuinely interested in, or it's kind of just making sure everybody is at their ease and is making sure that I've been the best host or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Without the actual real deeper purpose there. It's kind of ticking boxes sometimes. Which a lot of these extra things are ticking boxes. They earn me a bit of money, they please everybody else, I'd let somebody else down, nobody else will do it, so, and great secondary benefit, I get noticed, I get attention, I get respect, I'm listened to, but maybe that's not the real kind of heart of why you're doing something. And there are things I've got real heart for doing. Okay. So I'm just struggling to come out with the one thing. Now I feel like I'm not focused on all of those things we've just talked about. And I'm thinking, what is the thing that would make the most difference to...
What's an example of something that you will always make time for?
My children.
And how does that connect with what we've been talking about?
I suppose putting them in priority order, it's about using whatever I'm doing, perhaps even using them as my focus as well, as opposed to them being another thing that I've got to do. But them seeing me at my best and giving them a lesson in looking after myself and picking and choosing, and that quite empowered feeling of, actually I'm choosing what I'm doing, I'm not just doing. And it can take its time, and it's worth the investment, because in the end it's way more beneficial. Perhaps that gives them the best example, I don't know. I need to think about it.
In order to set an example, in order for them to learn something, they actually have to be paying attention. You can't be an amazing mum and they didn't even notice because they were watching TV, and it's like, didn't you just see what I just did?
Yeah, that's true. God, it's got to be, yeah.
So in order to be a role model, you have to have
An audience.
the attention, you have to have an audience, yes. Respect. Be listened to when you're sharing your life lessons and not just, yeah. When I was your age, yeah. And to learn something useful that's going to be valuable for them, that's going to protect them in the future, things like that. So, okay, so in terms of focus then, it's about focus on what in order to achieve what?
Focus on the important things in order to achieve excellence,
Mm-hmm.
I think, as opposed to achieving, I might do things really, really well, but I can't achieve excellence because there's too much.
And up until now, sorry to interrupt, but up until now, what would you say has been your criteria for important?
Anyone and everything. But certainly, surviving in terms of, so in work, in terms of making some money here and there, just to make sure I'm all covered, and then probably there's not much differential between one person and another. I think everybody sits quite high up.
Yeah, and so that's making it very difficult for you to tell the difference between the right and the not so right opportunity to invest your time and energy. So if we look ahead to the outcome, the output of this, which was about achieving excellence, what would be a criteria for importance that would allow you to look ahead and say, which of these uses of my time is going to enable me to demonstrate or develop my excellence in something, whether it's excellence at coaching or excellence at being a mum or excellence at
I think it's that the thinking is changing to saying that, God, that's long, to stop looking for alternatives. Because actually I have everything I need. And with any one of those areas of life, with everything I have now, I just stop looking for other things.
Well, if I can suggest having alternatives isn't the problem. The problem is the reason why you create alternatives, which is the fear of not achieving excellence.
Yeah.
Because paradoxically, on the other side of the need to be the best is the fear that you are not the best.
Yes.
And so I suspect what you do is create alternatives just in case.
Yeah.
Having alternatives is a good idea.
And also, you can't possibly achieve excellence if you're so bloody busy, can you?
Well,
so
you can achieve...
That's your get out.
Well, what you're generally achieving is excellence in juggling a lot of balls badly. So that's something which you're excelling in. So you're always excelling something. Hence, as I said, it's just about changing focus. What are you wanting to demonstrate that you can do? Are you wanting to demonstrate that you can be super mum, super professional, super everything, do everything, take everything on, say yes to everybody, and demonstrate excellence in that? You can do. The problem is most of those people won't notice. Therefore won't give you the feedback that lets you know that what you're doing is excellent, and you'll just do more and more of it till you can't do anymore, and then you switch off, and then those people are let down, and then the cycle starts again. Instead of understanding at the start, what is it that I'm trying to prove here? And then who do I focus on? Who's going to give me the best quality feedback that I've proven that?
Yeah.
So if you were ever going to do a piano exam, do your grade 1, for example, you wouldn't just play anything, whatever you want. You would play the things that you're going to get tested on in the exam. That would make sense. And if you're teaching, you're helping kids with Spanish lessons, you don't teach them anything. You teach them stuff that's
relevant.
Yeah, relevant to the exam. The reason why they're coming to you for help.
And even in that, I pride myself, they're not just coming to me for help for their Spanish, they're coming for confidence, and they're coming because they enjoy it, and they're coming because it's me, and they get lots out of it. This is already within everything, running the model.
And do you set that expectation clearly at the beginning? So do you say,
Mhm.
presumably to their parents, I do Spanish lessons? Or do you say, I do Spanish lessons that will also increase their confidence, that will do this and that and the other?
No, because they've been with me so long, I don't have to say that.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't think I did at the beginning. I think I learnt it along the way.
Yeah, yeah.
But I knew that I had to get them in to keep them there.
Yeah. And so in terms of new clients, like coaching clients you might be attracting in the future, are you going to set those expectations at the start or not, because for fear that you might not achieve those expectations and hope that it develops along the way, and then at the end you don't get a glowing testimonial from the client because they don't fully appreciate the value of what you gave them because they didn't know to look out for that. The scene that keeps coming into my mind is a scene from Monsters Inc., which I'm sure you've seen many times if you've got kids, as I have. There's a scene at the end where they're trying to escape and they're on all these doors in the doors to the warehouse. And so Sully's trying to get Mike to make Boo laugh. So I think he shuts his face in a door or something. He said, "Oh, sorry, she missed that. Her hood was down." And of course she's grumpy, so she doesn't laugh. But if we want people to give us recognition for what we do, we have to get their attention first. Not hope for the best and then keep trying.
That sounds so manipulative.
Well, I suppose it depends on how open you are about what you're doing. I mean, if you're starting a coaching relationship and you're saying, look, you know, one of the things I'm looking for out of this is, of course, a testimonial from you, which means I've got to do a great job for you. And my focus is I'm going to be doing these things, and then your part of the deal is you're going to do these things. And then together you're going to get to where you want to be, and you'll give me a lovely testimonial at the end. You know, rather than hope for the best or kind of hint at it or nudge them and, you know, just be upfront and say, look, this is what I'm looking for.
And ironically, because you've said it, they will, yeah, okay.
They will look, they will see what they're looking for.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I see this in a lot of behavioural assessments on training courses, that because the trainer has in mind a particular model or a thing they're looking for, they will find it. A lot of students get very worked up and anxious about the assessment and being able to demonstrate what they need to demonstrate without realising the trainer is going out of their way to look for it and will find it.
Yeah. Interesting.
So I think there's something in this view about focus, in terms of shifting focus in this sequence of events that you go through, and focusing, rather than focusing on the end, and I just did this amazing thing and, you know, am I going to get any respect or praise or glory or attention or time or reward or recognition or whatever it might be for that? You know, am I going to get some feedback that lets me know I did a great job? Or do you focus at the beginning and tell people that that's what you're setting out to do, and therefore be nice if they were to notice?
Got all these ideas of how to put that into practice, especially with parenting.
It's very, very common that people don't set expectations because they're afraid
They won't meet them.
they won't make them.
But in saying it, you're halfway there.
You are. And you can't achieve those expectations without the help of the people involved. So if you let them know at the beginning, they will help you.
Yeah. So if I was using that in terms of, let's go for the family scene, I can't set up my expectations. My expectations of this meal is that you're all going to have a moment to sit and listen to me. Not give me acknowledgement for my
Well, you
cooking.
probably frame it in a slightly different way, but basically, yeah, why not? I mean, people do that, but they do it in a roundabout way that then is manipulative because they're not sharing that agenda with other people.
Yeah, and certainly sharing is the most helpful.
And you might find that in acknowledging that that's your agenda, you can kind of be okay with that and let that go, and not have to be the agenda.
Yeah.
But if you don't acknowledge it first, you can't let it go.
Yes.
So you can just have dinner, and that's okay. doesn't all
Don't
have
have to do
be
a song
about
and
you.
dance routine.
Exactly.
Oh,
But if you're going to do a song and dance routine, at least let them know first.
Okay. Good. There's quite a few things to think about. I can have a copy of this video, right?
Yeah, sure. What do you feel like doing differently as a result of this conversation?
I actually feel like I was going to say spending a bit more time on my own, and there's plenty of just minor tweaks along the way to help me train myself in terms of not giving all the time to everyone, or then wondering why, or why didn't I go for all of those questions. A bit of practice in terms of not having to be the best.
Well, I think if I can offer a little tweak,
Please.
that being the best is fine,
Mm.
or wanting to be the best is fine. It's gotten you to where you are in life. It's made you good at lots of things that you do. So I wouldn't necessarily worry about wanting to be the best, but being the best implies a measure. And if somebody's measuring, if you want to get the best result in an exam, then what would you do? You'd read past papers, you'd do exam prep, you wouldn't do anything that wasn't connected with the exam in terms of revision and preparation. So you would tailor your work towards
focus.
whatever the definition of best is. Yes.
Yes. So I think it's being the best, but in being the best at choosing which of the important areas to be the best in. Not trying to be the best everywhere. Because then I can actually not just do a good job, which some of the things, I'm the best already. I love this term. Some of them I'm good at. Could do better. Because and I know why, I've always known why. It's just the spreading myself thin.
Yeah.
So choosing the areas, and then then there's a bit of bravery about really putting my money where my mouth is, literally, and in order to focus on those areas. And some things won't cost me anything in terms of money or time or effort. And in terms of kind of preempting, that's quite a nice thing to try. Preempting a situation, a meeting, or whatever it is, a relationship, to what I'm going to do with the coachee or with a group I'm training. That's definitely something I'm going to try.
Okay. How do you feel now as compared to when we started the conversation?
I feel like there's some things that still confuse me, but I'm trying to work out which are the important bits. Yeah. I think there's some of it I'd already acknowledged within myself, and other bits I maybe hadn't. But it feels good. It feels good to feel like it's kind of like I can tweak stuff, but it's not actually that hard. And some of it is just the viewpoint of it. Yeah, I'll focus on it and tell you.
Okay, you've set an expectation there. Quite naturally and easily.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.